Abort,
intro
abort,
before.
abort.
Hi. Hey, welcome back to SNE Drinks with. I'm Thiago. I have James, my partner in crime here. And today our guest is David, the man behind the studio
Territory.
territory. So we're gonna sorry,
Are we
let me
on?
stop. So we're gonna start quickly before we introduce David properly. We're gonna just play the show reel. So I'm pretty sure everyone knows territory, but just in case, we're gonna play the show reel. Give me 1 second just to log in here. Just share. So you guys should be able to see.
Yep, looking here.
Yeah. Nice.
Very nice.
That's great,
Yeah.
man. So we have David with us. David, please welcome to the show. Can you introduce yourself a little bit better than us? Who is David?
Uh, Hello, Thiago and James. Yeah, I co-founded the studio 16 years ago now, guys.
Yeah.
Just to age us. There's a
That's
lot more
crazy.
grey in our hair, a lot more grey in our beard since we all got to know each other. What the hell am I? So many years ago, I worked with both of you as a freelance motion designer. I'd worked at places like we were talking about this earlier, Fold 7 and places like that. And I trained as a graphic designer. I love graphic design, but I always knew that I wanted to make it move. I loved animation. And then along the way, got into films, got into like really niche things like doing computer screens in films and holograms in films. And then working at places like Spov, if people remember Spov, doing cut scenes for different computer games. And then, yeah, met my business partner at a place called Fold 7, and we decided to set up our own studio. And uh, it kind of went from there, really. And now, now we're just figuring out what's going on with the world, how we're all still relevant, making sure that creative people still get to do what they love doing, making sure that we still create work that we're proud of. And it's just been a hell of a ride, really.
Yeah, 16 years, man. That's quite a lot. Yeah, it's at the same time I start cake. It just time flies. But
This is
it's
it.
how David went from graphic design, like most of people don't really know, but he used to do like music videos and things there, and went all through more like cinematic and film. Did you always have that passion?
I've always loved music and I've always loved film and I've always loved computer games. And I just thought if I'm going to not get paid very well doing creative stuff, I might as well do things that I love and enjoy. And being from a part of the world that's not very close to Hollywood, like Essex, you don't really think about it. I think it was probably just blind determination, maybe, that I wanted to work on movies, I wanted to work in computer games. I loved working in the music industry. Like back in the day, the music industry was so
He
exciting. Like
used to be good as well.
I used to
Yeah.
be good.
Yeah.
No, the music industry, no. Music video used to be really good. I used to
Yeah, it
freelance,
did.
did
It
quite a
did. It
lot of
did.
music video in that time. It used to be quite fun.
There's so many
Yeah.
like iconic studios and iconic like directors that have come from a music video background. It's just not really
Yeah.
possible today. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like it's
Yeah,
quite easy.
or I think probably also the money's completely changed in the music
Mm,
industry. But I remember, I mean, the heyday was just before kind of iTunes came out, like the 10, 20 years before, digital downloads and all the rest of it. There was kind of people loved combining design with music. Like I remember like big album covers, and you'd buy records just to have the cool big artwork,
mm.
and all the top design studios would work on them.
Yeah.
There was Stylo Rouge and all sorts of like really cool names would work on album covers and other things. And music videos were quick turnaround. They were often a way for young directors, especially, to establish a portfolio and then graduate onto doing commercials and kind of finding their style and finding their way through. And music videos, like in the real heyday, when David Fincher and other people like that were working on them, like were big budgets, like really
Yeah.
big budgets, like
Yeah.
500,000, a million more. And back then, that was really a lot of money. There was kind of multi-day shoots and big post houses working on them and all that kind of stuff. So
But when
yeah,
you've got like the Michael Jackson music videos, I remember one of them, I
yeah,
can't remember what it was, like, $1 million+ back in like early
Yeah.
90s. And it's
yeah,
like, this is a film production to all intents and purposes. Like
yeah,
probably
and
Moonwalker or something like
probably
that.
per minute or per second, probably a lot bigger budget than a feature film, maybe.
Feature film.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
So I loved working on music, and I loved the variety creatively that it gave me. From like I mean, I work with a lot of different styles of music, from people like Kate Bush and Badly Drawn Boy, and then going to things like Girls Aloud and 50 Cent. It was kind of like proper different different
Yeah.
different ends of the spectrum.
You still got your Girls Aloud tattoo though, right?
Yeah, yeah, of course, of course. Um, but so loved that and loved it for the style. But then when iTunes came out, like I said, and digital downloads, you're starting to get the sense that the music video budgets were dropping and all that sort of thing. And it felt like a good moment to push into film. And I kind of haphazardly fell into it, and then just put a lot of hard work ethic behind it to make sure I didn't lose the opportunity, which was kind of cool, and worked as a I don't know if I was a freelancer or it was just a long contract. I can't remember now, but it was on Casino Royale, and did loads of screen graphics in Casino Royale. Learned how to do that then. Moved on to some of the Dark Knight movies, and then landed at Fold 7, learned how to do kind of commercials and things like that. And then when I went freelance, that was really fun because I got to try out loads of different studios that I wanted to work at. And that's where we met, James, because I went to Wild Stallions and
Yeah, that's
Chris
right.
and Natalie.
Wow, yeah, that brings memory.
Yeah. So, and they were such a cool studio. I really kind of admired them from afar. So, got to work with them, got to work at Why Not Associates and work with them on a bunch of projects. And went to Spav and worked on, the Call of Duty stuff and things. And James, we kind of connected there again.
Yeah, that's right.
Um,
Well,
Thiago,
Chris Sayer, just say hello. He's Chris Sayer from Wild Stallions is watching.
amazing,
Yeah.
amazing. I learned
Hey,
so much
Chris.
from Chris. I mean, I genuinely learned a lot from Chris.
Yeah, they were one of
Yeah,
the top as well in the time. I remember when me and David start Cake, they used to be our studio, then we used to really look into, doing cool stuff, MTV stuff, I know that's what we wanted to be in that time as well.
It's funny, isn't it? I remember there was a moment. I remember like everyone wanted to work on the MTV idents. I don't know if you
oh
both
yeah.
remember,
Yeah,
but, like
yeah.
that was the thing. And then you kind of go through a moment and it's like, oh, maybe it's a Nike commercial, or it's funny how those kind of like
Smooth.
pinnacle projects kind of shift over time. And now does MTV exist anymore? Is it?
No, it
Nah,
closed
no,
down
no,
a
no.
couple of months ago,
Yeah,
didn't it? It closed down.
yeah. It's not how it used to be. Yeah.
No, but I think creativity in the music world has shifted. So when I look at some of the motion design studios that are doing like incredible content for the Sphere and the live shows going on at the Sphere, Like those productions are mega. I mean, they're probably up there with kind of those old music video budgets now, but
Mm.
they've got to make it last over 60 minutes, 90 minutes, whatever it is, on just insane canvases, you
It's
know.
an
Yeah.
interesting format, isn't it? The Sphere. Like I'd love to do a project on that. I think you can have so much fun with it just because it's so different to a regular screen and its whole setting.
Yeah. And it must be really hard in terms of like understanding the audience experience because you've got essentially these people like tiny down on stage.
Mhm.
And how do you kind of amplify the performance but not detract from the fact that it is also live music and you want to appreciate the
Yeah.
band and what they're doing.
It's a
So
difficult balance.
yeah.
Yeah.
We've done some things on the Sphere, but it's been more kind of on the brand side, which has been just as challenging and interesting, but not connected to music. Uh, but we are doing quite a few things in the music space again now, but they're kind of weird and wonderful and different types, kind of more live experience type things, but
Hmm.
not bands performing.
All right, that's cool.
So
And
oh, sorry.
go ahead, James.
So when you made that conscious decision to go into the movie kind of movie side of things, was screens like the most natural choices that just kind of like just happen and then it's like, oh well, this was working pretty well.
I think it was meant to be, James, if I'm completely honest with you, because there was no planning behind it whatsoever. Like,
Divine intervention.
yeah, I think
Because
so. Like almost like I'm very geeky. Like I am. I'm okay with the techie side of things. And I also just love design and creativity. And I knew that I wanted to be in film. And so this kind of bringing together of technology and storytelling in like a way that I absolutely adore, but everyone was like, that's a bit niche. You know, it was kind of perfect for me. And I still love it. I still love it. And we've worked on probably hundreds of films and TV shows now. And it would be all too easy just to kind of repeat ourselves but we
yeah,
still like love finding new ways of like expressing the director's vision through mobile phone screens, computer screens, and holograms, you know?
yeah.
It's you kind of say that stuff out loud and go, that's you know, and I can understand when I tell my parents and my family that I work on computer screens in a film, they're like, that's not a real job.
I was going to say,
And
what do your parents think nowadays? Like, what do they?
They still think that I'm
It's still
like
abstract.
no, they think I fix computers for Tom Cruise. They
personality.
yeah, they do. They do. They're like, oh, you do the computers for actors. Yeah, I don't know. I think they're
Because
proud. I think they're proud, and they do kind of get what design is. And you know, I've been banging on about it long enough now that I think I've just kind of ground them down into submission. But yeah, like as we've said, like 16. I mean, I guess I've been working on screen graphics now for 20 years, and yeah, I still get excited
must be
about
longer
this
than
project.
20 years, man.
Yeah, probably. I've done
I
really.
probably know you about like 21, 22 years. And I remember in the beginning
Let's
you
not
used
put a
to do
year on things.
yeah. I literally remember that in my head you saying, that you used to do the film freelance work and they pay you a hotel and you need to sleep in the hotel because it used to be next to the place. They didn't want you
Yeah,
waste time moving
yeah,
back and forth,
yeah.
and I
But
still
honestly,
remember
the
that.
hotels were so cheap and so horrible, you didn't want to spend too much time in them anyway. Like, you
So you just
weren't quite
work.
sure what you were going to catch if you stayed in
It's
there.
like a UV torch. Put it away.
Yeah, yeah.
So because the first film you guys start was what? Medal of Honor, no?
That was
Was
our first. You've got good memory. That was our first ever
I
project.
have all my questions right down, so I have your whole life path
Oh
right
shit.
down in front of me. So for
Yeah,
people
Medal of
doesn't
Honor.
really
Medal of
know,
Honor was the first one. Yeah.
yeah, for people doesn't really know. So how did I start? You guys start doing the film, you got the job, and that
So
you
it's not a
guys set
film;
up
it's a
the
computer game.
yeah,
And it's competition to Call of Duty. And I was working at SPOV at the time, and they had this opportunity come in. And obviously, they were at the time they were really, really well known for doing all the Call of Duty cutscenes.
yeah,
And here you have the lead competitor to Call of Duty kind of coming in and asking you to work on it. And so there was a conflict of interest. They couldn't take it. And I kind of raised my hand and said, do you mind if I go for it? Can I pitch on it and kind of go after it? I've always wanted to do my own thing. And they kind of kindly said yes. And so we pitched for it, me and Nick, and put the bid together, put the scope together, and all that kind of stuff. And that we won it, and I think we were all surprised at that point. And then we had to deliver it, and it was me and a couple of freelancers, Chris Cousins and a few others, that kind of figured out the best way to deliver this opening cutscene for Medal of Honor. And that got us out the blocks. And then we hired this tiny little attic room in Hatton Garden that you could fit us plus a couple of freelancers in. And it was all a little bit awkward. And we kind of bought a couple of Macs and kind of went from there really. And one of the next big projects for us there.
Was Prometheus, no? When you guys got
Well, no, we
really
did
into
Killzone
movie.
3. We did Killzone 3. We did Medal of Honor. Then we did Killzone 3, and we did loads of cutscenes for that. And then I remember literally, I was handing the hard drive to Nick, and he was going to get on a plane and take the hard drive over to Amsterdam to deliver the files. And I remember because I just pulled all nighters for like what felt like weeks on end. It was probably only like a week or so, but it was a lot of long hours. And then because we were
Wow.
trying to figure out how to do stereo deliveries and all this kind of stuff. And then just got this email out of the blue from the art department and Prometheus, and that got us our first feature film. And it's kind of like, just exploded from there, really.
Yeah, because that was, I would say, like the big thing then turning you guys the go-to for UI or FUI. You guys turned to be the main studio from
Oh,
that
it's it's
moment.
it's absolutely bonkers though, Thiago. Just because I'd freelanced on films didn't mean that we were necessarily going to get. I didn't plan for us doing film work. I was like, it'd just be nice to be doing design. I mean, initially it started with, oh, it'd be nice to be a creative director and just oversee projects, and have a team delivering some cool stuff, and hopefully some of it will be motion. Maybe we do some websites, maybe we do some traditional print graphic design. I think that was kind of as far as the ambition went at that point. And then, yeah, like you say, Prometheus. The great thing about Prometheus was amazing director. So you can say you've worked with Ridley Scott and the amazing team around Ridley Scott. So we worked with loads of amazing people on that project, and the film gets different reviews, but the one thing I think everyone can agree on is it was a beautiful looking film.
Yeah.
And we kind of really worked our asses off when it came to graphics. And it wasn't just Territory. There was a whole freelance team that were also doing graphics. Sean Yu and John Hill and I'm sorry if I don't remember everyone's names, but we were just talking about memory and names.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier.
Uh, but just like loads of people that sat outside of Territory doing that work as well. But Prometheus was a great one, and it kind of, I think we then started getting noticed by other teams, and we worked on the next project I think we worked on was Zero Dark 30 with Catherine Bigelow, which was a complete change of pace, completely different style of movie, going from science fiction to real world.
Mm.
And obviously the story around Zero Dark 30. And so much of it was about like aerial surveillance. And I think Catherine thought that we'd have to do it all in post, and we proved that no, 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 we can do it all on set. We can do it live in front of you. And she really loved that, and she became quite an advocate for Territory Studio for a period of time. And then we went back to working with Ridley on The Martian, and then after The Martian, we started working with a production designer called Charlie Woods, and Charlie worked with us on some of the Fast and the Furious films, and we didn't really think anything of it. It was a nice person to work with, but he then suddenly started landing these really big Marvel projects, and the first one that he landed was Guardians of the Galaxy, and I didn't really know. Like, a shame, sad to say, I didn't really know too much about Guardians of the Galaxy at the time. It didn't sound like the main superheroes and the Marvel.
Yeah.
You know, everyone knows Spider-Man and Iron Man and Thor. The Guardians of the Galaxy sound a bit like a B movie.
Well,
Uh,
it was, wasn't it? It's kind of the anti-heroes in a way. That's the being above,
yeah,
unless you've read the
but I
comics
guess
and
I
that.
didn't realize how big of a deal it was going to be. And I remember it was me, Eugen, Blake, and Ryan. We went into the art department and it was floor to ceiling. Charlie's concept team had just done this incredible job of like just concepting out the entire movie. And I think we just kind of walked around with our jaws on the floor, like, oh my God, what is this? And then you read the script. And the great thing about James Gunn is he writes the soundtrack into his scripts. So you immediately kind of get the sense of the spirit of the movie.
Wow.
And that's like the best creative brief ever. Because if you
Mm.
understand the soundtrack of the film, you suddenly vibe with it and you kind of get the spirit of the film. And so you don't need much more than that to design around. So, funnily enough, like music kind of coming back into it again. I think creatives love working to music, often have headphones on. They're kind of trying to emotionally tune themselves in to kind of do the right type of work. And yeah, so James was really clever on that front. And then he just had a really funny script. It was just really funny. Like you got the sense that this wasn't just going to be superheroes in space. It had a good tone to it. So
Mm.
we got really excited. We threw everything at it. I'm pretty sure we didn't make a profit on that job. And but it
But you
looked
made a
like
friend.
we made a few friends. Yeah, we made a few friends.
That's good.
Yeah. And
That's
then
good.
they just took us straight onto Avengers after that, and it kind of just went bonkers beyond that point, really.
That's
So,
nice. Uh,
so you start out like, crazy to think 16 years ago, because does it feel, I mean, well, first question, does it feel that long? And then, now you've got like four studios. So, I mean, how do you feel like your role within the company has evolved and changed over that time? So imagine, at the start you were quite hands-on, had your design background, animation background, and all that kind of stuff. Whereas now I
Yeah.
imagine it's probably quite a different ball game.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, was I
you
still
know,
designing and keyframing when you were working with us, James? Was I still hands on the tools sometimes?
I think when I first worked with you guys, you were a
Yeah.
little bit here and there, if needed,
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah. 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 As well, we're dependent on the emergency.
Can we get
Um,
him back to hovering?
yeah, yeah. Let me just look over your shoulder for a second. What was your first part of the question?
Well, I guess I mean, it
if
kind
it
of
feels like 16
does it
years.
does it feel like yeah? Does it feel
Some
like
some
16
days
years?
yes, and longer. Some days no. We're working with uh so I our teams love working with Denis Villeneuve. And he's a brilliant director to work with. And on those days it feels like, it doesn't feel like 16 years at all. And we have wonderful creative collaborators. Um, there's a chap I probably won't name because he probably wouldn't appreciate it, that we're working with at Netflix at the moment. And yeah, he's been a long time collaborator. We've worked with him when he's been at other brands, and uh, just there are people that you can work with, especially when they're creative on the other side. If, whether the client or partner or whatever you want to call them, if they're creative and you both just vibe and you get each other, it can be it's the reason that we all got into this. When
Mm,
you feel like you're truly
Totally.
helping through creativity, then it just becomes, yeah, like time evaporates. And then there's
Wow.
other times when you're just slogging through something that probably isn't creative. It's probably more of a operational or financial thing, and that can be tough. So yeah, no, it doesn't. I'm proud of the 16-year thing because I think it's hard to survive that long.
Yeah.
it
It's
is.
quite a badge of honor. Uh, and and honestly, I'm at the point now to answer the other part of your question where I'm just proud to be providing like jobs and projects and like a place to work where people can do what they love doing. Like that I thought I was going to be a great creative director, and I was an okay creative director for a while. And then I employed creative directors that do it properly and better than me. And a creative team that like do the work better than I
That's
could as
that's what
well.
running a company's about, though. You employ the talent that are better than you for that
Yeah.
reason.
Well, it's one thing saying it, it's another thing actually believing it. And a lot of people kind of say it for great sound bites on things like this. And I don't know if they truly believe it. And I think sometimes it's because actually the other bits of what you have to do in a business kind of suck, and or you might not naturally be good at them. And I
Yeah,
think
it's
I
true.
ended up realizing is I'm quite good at some other things. I'm quite good at connecting conversations and good and talented people together. So my skill set's around that now, and I'm actually probably better at that than I was at creative direction or design and animation.
So
And
going
so
back
I've
to
kind of
create,
made my
so,
peace.
so go back to the creative direction for a second. So did you find it hard to transition? Obviously, it's founding a company, it's your kind of baby in a way. So if, as hiring another creative director, did you find that a bit hard to like give up a part of that creative control?
I thought, do you know what? I thought I would. I really thought I would, but I had a moment, and I've probably talked about this before, but there was a moment where we'd won two really big, significant projects, and I realized that I was the bottleneck, and the reason probably that the projects would fall over if it was all going through me.
Yeah,
And I suddenly it became the priority became really clear in my mind in that I love that we are contributing to all these projects, and I don't want to be the reason for us not to be doing that. Um, and then I genuinely hired pretty well. I'm good at hiring creative directors. Like I get that bit right.
yeah,
I'm good at spotting the right sort of people that love the work that we do and and know how to work with teams. So I yeah, and all of our creative directors, I think, are long-standing. Sam Kean came in as a graduate and
yeah. I
has
remember.
never left, and now he oversees sees our film projects, and yeah, Andrew's been here 10 years. I mean, it's kind of yeah, it's kind of amazing, really. Hopefully, they stay here for another 16 years. Uh, Possibly not. But yeah, no, I didn't have as much of an issue with it as I thought I would. And it was quite quick. I think it's because the people that I've hired are really, really good. And I remember,
It's
and
about trusting as well. No?
yeah, yeah. And to be honest, I had other things to worry about that kept me entertained, and kept me away from it. And I remember Andrew came in, I think, just at the moment that we were stepping onto Blade Runner. So it was like,
Yeah, I want to talk about Blade Runner.
okay, okay. Well, he did, and then he did an amazing. He and the team did an amazing job on that. And I just thought we need to be doing other things like this, and so I focused my attention on kind of trying to bring in conversations like Ghost in the Shell and Ready Player One, which were kind of looming on the horizon at the time. So I had other fish to fry.
Yeah,
Um,
Yeah, because for me, like Blade Runner was like one of highlight you guys did. I really want to. For I think a lot of people don't really know, but you guys moved from the normal CGI screens to also move to analog stuff on
yeah.
there. No, and how do you convince a director to take like a lo-fi or analog risk on a 150 million film?
Let's just be honest. That guy's good at taking risks. If you can step onto Dune 2 and shoot things on an infrared sensor without telling the studio, you got balls. So that guy can take the blame for that. And he
Yeah.
doesn't see it, he doesn't see it as risk. I don't work closely with Denis, that's mostly the team, but from what I hear back in terms of what they do and the way that they work and how he is with them, it's riskier to repeat yourself and just to turn out work that people feel mediocre about. If you can
Yeah.
actually do something of meaning that people feel like, wow, this is really fresh. We've not seen this before. It feels like it's coming from a different place. So I think sometimes it's riskier not to take risks, and to try and to push yourselves. And look at AI, if we all just repeat ourselves, AI can do that better. So the space
Yeah.
that is left is origination and crafting
mhm.
like truly unique things. And
It's the
Blade
human
Runner,
element.
yeah, yeah, Blade Runner felt like that. I mean, and it is down to Denis. I think it was Denis and maybe Paul Inglis and Dennis Gassner. So Dennis is the production designer, the overall architect of the look of the film. Obviously, Denis is coming from an action story perspective, and then Paul was working with us on day to day as a supervising art director, and he was really thinking about bringing the overall vision to life in a kind of like, okay, if it's on a screen, let's talk. And so between Paul and Denis, they kind of came up with this idea of, well, the original is so iconic and everyone loves it. If we're going to align with it in some way, it can't be a Photoshop pastiche. We need to
No.
kind of go back to the way in which people would work, back when this movie was made in the 1970s. Like, how do we do that? So the thinking was, we'll step away from the computer. Like, can you use Letraset? Can you use photography? Can you reproject? Can you imbue everything with this kind of analog layer and imperfection and almost mechanical movement? And even when we were moving things around, either in CG or in After Effects, we were trying to just think about the physics of the movement the whole time and
That's cool.
the way that things would like interplay, like layer and interplay between each other. So that's where, the idea of doing macro photography of a melon's texture for the brain scan, and actually photographing close-ups of our eyes, or going to a butcher's and getting like cut out gouged eyes,
Wow.
that sort of thing to photograph. And that, well, firstly, it does two things. The creators love it. Like the team here are like, this is cool. Like not doing Photoshop and Illustrator straight away, but actually, like the fridge was a mess in our studio. That
Questionable lunches.
yeah. There was like, don't go in the fridge. That's kind of not good. But the team loved the process, and like as soon as you love the process, you see it in the work, like the care for the craft and the like, just being a little bit bold and brave, and
But
pushing
it
it.
adds a level of authenticity as well that you just don't get any other way.
It really does. It really does. And the other thing that Denis does really well is he doesn't try and force detail into the whole of the frame. So he's very comfortable with negative space. And if he tells you, I want to focus the audience's eye here on this frame, and then it will be over here, then you're like, well, I don't have to waste all my time trying to fit it all with detail. I can just pick
Mm.
my moments and put my effort into those moments. He also doesn't throw lots and lots of stuff at things. So if he's asking you to do something to go into the film, it will be in the film. Like he's not going,
Not
That's
oh,
wasted
good.
time.
I'm going to fill it with 20 screens in the background and it all gets blurred out. He's like, no, no, if I'm asking you to design something, the camera's going close on it and we're going to look at it. So you end up not wasting a lot of energy and time on things that kind of just become, texture in the movie.
Yeah.
And it's valid, it's valid when we do that in other movies. It's still valid, like it's an important part of it. But so you end up moving forward with Denis very confidently because you know that all of your effort are going into things that matter. And that is quite a key mindset for people that are creatively committing to a project. So he knows how to get the best out of good people. And I think most directors do. Ridley Scott was the same. Like he'll have a joke with you, he'll have a laugh, but at the end of the day, he's employed you, he believes you're a great talent, and if he gives you a good brief, you'll probably nail it. And he has a good amount of trust in there. And so I think I've learned my stance on creative direction is that it's like, can you step away? Now, I'm not very good at that in other roles in the business. So I probably annoy people with kind of getting distracted with certain details here, but it's not the creative side. It's probably the parts of my role that I'm less naturally gifted at. So let's say finance or HR or just management at large. Like I probably still could be better and could learn a lot more on that side of things. But in terms of having confidence around creative leadership and creative management, yeah, I'm confident because I've hired well. I've hired well, and if we get the brief right, then great people will do great things.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, that's good. And one thing I want to touch with you as well, because we don't see much, when we think about territory, we always think about FUI, UI, for films. And but you guys been doing cars as well.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
there's a car project behind me for Audi. We do
yeah,
lots of like software interface, even I
and
mean
how
even like storytelling stuff for cars.
and how is the psychology, of the user, because sit in the cinema and watch a movie is completely different aspect of animation than someone sit in the car and interactive.
Yeah, we
It's
can't,
not
we
just
can't, you
It's
something you
real
can't,
can
you can't
adapt from
consideration.
a
just,
movie.
yeah. I mean, it's a very different user experience.
Yeah.
If you're sitting back in your car and just watching the movie unfold in front of you, then you're in a whole heap of trouble. So we
Well, you're
can't
probably
really,
in a Tesla, aren't you?
yeah, maybe.
Was that the Harry Potter guy who
Maybe.
watched the Harry Potter film?
Or in a ditch. You're either in a
Yeah.
Tesla or a ditch. So yeah, it's very, very different, Thiago. I would say that there's a lot of heavy lifting when it comes to the rigor around like health and safety with a vehicle like that. Like you can't mess around. There are laws, and type sizes can't be like tiny and blurred out. They need to be very visible. Everything on the screen needs to mean something. There's no digital fluff. Um, and I like it for that. I like it for it exercises a different part of your brain. I also, in the same way that I love working with film directors, I love working with car designers. Like you get when you go to when you go to these car brands, they are celebrities. Like they're
Mm.
probably a bigger deal than the CEO.
Like Ian Callum, those kind of guys.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of nuts, and they really know their craft, like they really know
Mm.
it. And so you walk into these rooms and they really want to hear from you because they don't understand how they take the beauty and the design language that they've established over hundreds of years with vehicle design. How do they express that through digital so it doesn't just feel like a stuck on screen?
Yeah.
And so there's become a lot of focus, and you see it with the Johnny Ive thing more recently with Ferrari.
I was going to ask about that. Damn it, it's on my list.
Oh, sorry. Well, I don't want to jump around too much, but
Yeah.
it to say that automotive brands are taking it really seriously, like they really, really care. They know that it needs to be functional, but they also want it to be expressive. And so it's like finding those little moments where you can do something a little bit extra. And we're using Game Engine a lot of the time to deliver these experiences. So our game history is actually really useful.
That was my next point. Damn it.
Oh, sorry, James. Sorry,
You're
I'm
reading my
stealing Jay.
mind.
but it's all interconnected. It's all
Yeah.
interconnected, and the gaming technology is very relevant because it allows us to do really rich. We can do digital twinning. We can have a digital version of the car. We know like when things are physically happening in the environment, we can reflect that back into the interface. And yeah, so it's a very different mindset. You have to be really, really rigorous on UX. You have to test it across different geographies, different languages. It's a huge icon set purely to deliver for a vehicle. You've got the central cluster, which is obviously the bit behind your steering wheel, but then you've also got the infotainment. And now in more modern cars, you're getting other screen surfaces coming through in the back and in the armrests and everywhere else.
And
So
it's a crazy opportunity for cars as well, no? Because if you think if they're not yet that they're gonna go in the same way games doing, where you need to buy new, clothes and everything. So you're gonna end up, you buy the car, but you still you wanna buy a new skin for your whole UI set. So
yeah. Yeah,
it's gonna be crazy.
people want to get expressive with, I think cars become kind of they're a bit like trainers. I think people see them
Yeah.
as such an expression of who they are and their taste.
Mm.
It says if they see it as it's saying something about them. And the interface is no different. They might want to be able to customize it, or they might, for instance, if they spec out a car with a premium trim and like all the additional extras, they want the interface to reflect that as well. Like, does it have a more premium feel to it? Um, so that's kind of key. And then of course AI is coming through now. So what does an AI powered experience looks like? Not just from a self-driving car, setup, but like all the other agentic kind of like experiences that you can bring to that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of exciting. Uh, I'm amazed that James hasn't referenced Knight Rider yet, but kind of it's kind of also very it's really hard to pull off. Like it's harder than a film in some ways. to like
I can imagine.
do
But
design functionally.
that's where I thought like Johnny I did quite well. I think he hit a nice balance between tactile and digital because there's been quite a lot of backlash over the last couple of years over having just too many screens and not enough buttons. And obviously, with a Ferrari, you're paying for it, but like the modern Ferraris are known for bad UI design up
Right.
until this point. Like
Right.
I think it's something to do like the Italian passion of just we'll put a knob here and something down here, and it won't make any sense,
Yeah.
or maybe work or not, whatever. But yeah, I really liked his solution. I thought the design was nice and clean. Obviously, the colors you can change to whatever. It doesn't have to be steel. There was like a one of his ideas was like a screen with a handle that you pull out, which I can see working in the SUV kind of, Pura Sangue kind of car, but probably not so much in a sports car. But then you can always tailor the screen to it. But yeah, I thought it was really nice. That
I think
tactileness
my
was great.
concern with that project at the moment, and I haven't kept up track with it, is we're seeing the interface and the physical interface and the digital interface in
It's out of
isolation.
context.
Yeah, which is really odd, and I don't like that. I don't like not understanding the full environmental
Mhm.
construct for it
True.
because it isn't in isolation. I can understand like celebrating like all the little details in the kind of the gnarled metal and all the rest of it, but yeah, I am less positive than you. I love Johnny Ive, but I do feel like it felt very Apple.
It
I
did
didn't, I
absolutely feel
didn't,
Apple.
I didn't see the Ferrari flair in there. That was missing for me.
I
But
think for
but
them it was they're probably a little. I think they're probably going to launch it with their like EV Ferrari, which is probably a little bit further down the line. So they're probably
yeah,
not quite ready to show the context.
yeah, yeah. But in terms of was it beautiful? Was it well considered? Absolutely. I mean, it's unsurprising, right?
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, if I was to push it further, if I was to give him notes, if I was to give Johnny notes, if he's listening, which I'm sure he does, I'm sure he's listening.
I think he's on the chat. Yeah,
Okay. Then I'd say just a little bit more openness to the design influences of, the Italian legacy would
mm.
be really lovely to see. But I do get the need for like function and just doing things really well, and it looked very, very well executed.
It's interesting as well because like as you said, it's got that Appleness to it, where a lot of their car designers are looking towards Apple CarPlay for their solution now. What I can't remember it's called now. I don't know, Apple
Yeah.
CarPlay Ultra or whatever it is. I can't remember. With like Aston Martin and what have you. So
Yeah.
that'll be quite interesting to see how it integrates with that and how it's customized to the manufacturer.
Yeah. I mean, we're not going to be a million miles away from, as cars move towards self-driving, you're going to have the option. Do you want it to drive somewhere or do you want to take over? So that's mode number one. Am I taking control of the steering wheel or is the car? And so, it'll be able to do great things like go and get yourself charged, go and find a charge point, go and do that. And then on the way home, bring back my shopping. I won't
Mm.
need an Amazon delivery driver. The car will just come back. So there'll be modes where people, even if they're avid drivers, won't mind the fact that their car's driving around and sorting itself out. But then you'll still want to take over and be able to drive because you want to, it's a beautiful day. You love the driving experience. You want to take over. You want to drive it. And so I think we'll have less requirement on screens, and I think intelligent, sophisticated, what I think of as smart surfaces. So it doesn't need to be, you don't need to know the difference between a wooden surface and a wooden surface that becomes a display. So
Mm.
it can go back to materiality. And what I would love, ironically, as a digital designer, is far more physicality, um,
Absolutely.
and far
Yeah.
less need to put the digital layer in. Maybe it's voice controlled. Maybe there's other aspects to it. But if you really love driving, that should all just disappear, and it's about the driving
Keeping
experience.
it simple.
Yeah,
I have to admit,
Yeah.
like from driving experience point of view, I can't imagine a company like Ferrari would have well, maybe in like again like the Purosangue kind of SUV territory. Yeah, it makes sense to have like a self-drive mode. But you buy a Ferrari to drive, or an equivalent, Aston Martin or whatever to drive, don't you? So I imagine they'd probably have a bit of control on that aspect and be like,
I mean, I
nah,
am not the target market. I'll be honest with you. Our
bank account
Volkswagen
says no.
brand is kind of at the different end of the market. But
But equally valid though, equally valid.
yeah, but just convenience and family and like, are you looking after a family?
Yeah,
Uh, that's really valid, and I think we can kind of over romanticize, the some of this stuff, but sometimes it needs to function to your
true.
point where a button is fine. Like, I
Yeah.
don't want to go through three menus to turn the temperature up. The
I think
button,
that's the main problem nowadays. No?
yeah.
Well, I was having this conversation with my dad this morning, actually, quite relevant. And so he got a new car recently, and it's just a Mini, nothing, nothing, not a Ferrari, don't worry.
Is it
But
one with the circular screen? Has it got the?
I'm not sure. I've not seen it yet. It's like
Ah,
he's only just got it. But he was saying because of EU regulations over the last couple of years, when you start your car up, you have to have stop start enabled. It has to have lane keep assist enabled. And he was saying to disable that, he has to go right the way through the menu, turn it off, which is a pain in the ass. And I know some manufacturers, like I know Porsche, for example, they just linked it to one button where you press it and it disables it. So
yeah.
that,
Mm.
again, like the button sometimes is the best and simplest solution.
Well, I mean, this is
Mm.
why UX comes down to psychology, right? Because if I know my consumer really, really well and I know their mindset, I can be confident around their assumptions around a UX, as you were saying, like all of it, it's likely that your dad's demographic is going to want to switch that off. So
Yeah,
you'd have that as a quick switch. But if you're appealing to such a mass audience, so like I don't know, like Ford or Toyota, who have such a range of customers, it's really hard to know all of that stuff.
true.
And so you're kind of going to legacy behaviors and dialing into those so that it works for as many people as possible. So
Yeah.
but I would say the brief is harder for a Toyota or a VW or whoever because they've got to appeal to such a wide audience, whereas Porsche and
Hmm.
Ferrari kind of know the vibe of
Yeah,
persons
exactly.
stepping
We'll
into
get
their
rid of the
vehicle.
indicators. There has to be a little bit of a bell end.
Yeah.
Cool. So bring back away from the car now. I want to touch a
Ooh.
subject we didn't touch yet, and Ben has been asking as well. Is the moment the AI everyone talking about? Ben just asked. He said that he read an article on the Times last month, and AI is it's about taking like uh it's gonna be like graphic design is gonna be one job is gonna go, and he asked what is the issue with motion graphic as well. We already been seeing like some AI doing kind of motion graphics as well, but we have, I think, from all the perspective here from 3D motion graphic. What is your perspective on that, and how you kind of as a territory, how I'm sure you guys
How
doing
do you use it?
some stuff. How do you use and how also you protect, the staff and the industry. I think that's for me is the key, because it comes 16 years on that. Imagine how it would be if we had AI on that time.
Yeah. I mean, so it's funny, isn't it? Because we worked on Blade Runner and 2049, not the original one. I'm not that old. And it's interesting that we wanted to put very kind of human, imperfect technology in, and it's a movie about replicants and AI, which is kind of, and also I think the lovely thing about that movie is it says that we've become so cold and so hard and so robotic. Actually, the AI looks far more human and caring
Mm.
and kind of centered, I guess. So, are we kind of being squished out and there's not much space left for us? I don't think so. I mean, it was interesting to see the Sora news that broke in the last couple of
Yeah.
days.
Yeah,
They're kind of closing that down, and um,
they
I
just broke the contract with Disney as well.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I can't comment on that. Um, it wasn't my fault. What, how do I feel? I mean, I'm trying to thread a needle on this stuff as I think we all are. Um, I still love human craft. I still love putting the hours in. And on one of our recent Call of Duty projects, all the cutscenes, we did it like proper old school, like letraset and ink and like photographing stuff and messing stuff up and moving things over a photocopier. And,
Inner Carl
it
Cooper.
had to feel like, like Tomato. You remember Tomato?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
wow. We had that in the show.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
awesome. They're awesome. So full credit. We robbed from them. Humans can imitate humans as well as
Yeah.
artificial intelligence. Um, loving reference. So we know that there's still a space for human craft, and that is still probably 80% of our work, but it does some fucking crazy cool stuff that if you don't let it turn out shit, and if you put a lot of effort into making it look good and not letting it do what it thinks it should do, but kind of like properly taking control of it, you can get some really good results that are interesting under certain briefs. So, for instance, we did a commercial about AI and identity theft. And the agency that came to us said, well, it feels kind of relevant that we use AI to show everyone what the problem is that we're trying to protect them against, right? So
Yeah.
we generated a whole bunch of humans like telling you these personal stories and please dad, can you wire me some money because I've fallen over, blah blah blah, and it's using like 11 labs to kind of imitate the voice and all that kind of stuff. So under those guises, you kind of go, well, this kind of makes sense. Let's use AI to show like the risks of it. And the humans that we were creating with it and the performances we were delivering. And what we did is we kind of recorded ourselves doing the performance and then used Gen AI to recreate that performance with different
Mm.
characters. So that's kind of like it's a good kind of like use and
It's a
interest.
balance. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I think under the right guises, and if you don't let the slop turn up, then I think
Mm.
you can do some really interesting stuff. Now, what that
Yeah.
what that means is you need to building tooling via Comfy UI or Weavy or whatever it is that you use that stops it doing the stupid stuff, which is if I give it a character design from the front, it's going to guess what the bat looks like every single time it sees the back of a character, and that's when you get the changes. That's when you get the kind of like three fingers, four fingers, 10 fingers problem. So actually, you need to give it more creative control. You need to give it front view, side view, different expressions, so it's not guessing the whole time. So
Mm.
actually, you end up doing more work, but what that then gives you is some time back in your day. So if animators aren't working 20 hours a day for 7 days a week, I see that as a positive. But are they continuing to do what they love to do? So it's about manipulating the process and not allowing it to be the slot machine that it can be. So if people are using it off the shelf, it's awful.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you're just going straight to the cloud platform and generating shots, you're going to spend so much time trying to get consistency across shots and from one shot to flow into the other. Now, for non-experienced eyes, they don't see that as a problem because it's a series of beautiful shots. To us, it looks like a
Holy shit.
sizzle reel
So
or something. Just it feels totally unmotivated. People don't understand shot structure. All of the stuff. I mean, I'll go back to Chris Sayed, taught me so much about, contrast in shots, cutting from a wide to a mid to a close. Just that kind of innate craft that comes from filmmaking. And that is missing in there. Now, the benefit to all of us is we do know what that is. And so the kind of the power users that I'm seeing are motion designers, animators, and filmmakers who know their craft, they know what good taste is, they know the bar that it needs to hit, and they're interested enough in the tools that they can manipulate it and control it in a way that allows them to get the results that are valid for the quality of the work that we're happy to put our names to.
yeah.
And the weirdest thing I find with the whole process is it compresses timelines, and everyone thinks that's a good thing, especially anybody that's measuring profit and loss. But it isn't because, and it like this is just because I'm an old person that I'm going to say this, but when I used to shoot on film, the fact that I didn't see the processed photographs until a week later meant that I changed my creative process, which was every shot counted. I
Mm.
knew I had to get it in focus. I knew the exposure was important. I knew that the direction of light was important. Every single shot was a real moment. And you really paid attention to that creative moment. As soon as it went to digital, you became an editor. It's like click, 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 click.
All the
That
chimping.
one works. That one works.
Yeah.
You were becoming lazier with the intent and being
And with the
incredibly
knowledge as well, there's no
yeah,
reason.
yeah. So AI compresses this time frame, and what happens is you go, oh, well, that looks amazing. It's like, yes, but what is the consideration behind it? Now, we do loads and loads of research when we're working on a movie, and that is so important because you're building in meaning, you're layering in meaning to everything that you do, and you're interconnecting that with all the other creative teams that you work with. So the layering and the work that we're doing is vibing from the costume department, and they might be vibing from set deck, and they might be sharing with the director or the cast. You know, the cast have an influence on the costumes that has an influence on the performance that might have an influence on the. So all of these different creative influences are coming together and building out something that's really rich. Now, I think what as creators we feel so cold is because we don't see that richness in the work. So you still need to spend a lot of time building in that intent.
Yeah.
So the fact that you're getting surface beauty so quickly and you can't put your finger on it is because that depth and that meaning and that intent is missing from every single shot. And that's what we all need to take control of. It's not, the tech community that are just seeing this stuff and thinking, oh, I can be a filmmaker all of a sudden. That is not going to go
Sleeping
anywhere. And they're going to
No,
make a load of
yeah,
films I'm not going to pay money to watch.
yeah,
So you keep on making your free stuff to go on YouTube, that's fine. But for any of us that need to make a living from creativity, I think it's really important that either we take control of it. So either we step in, we lean in and we understand it, and then we do actually put out some results that are really good, or don't do it, and your value will go up because you're applying your human craft, and less
Mm.
people are doing that now.
yeah.
So
I
But
saw.
do you think there is less people doing that, but also there is a lot of people in the industry nowadays, you know? Do you think,
always,
simplifying the question, do you think like for who is starting now, like let's imagine, you know, you're just jumping on the career as a motion design animator, whatever. Do you think the person is starting now can survive and have a career through without jumping to AI and learning AI in the beginning?
yeah, if you're good, yeah.
Do you think they
I
still?
mean, all of this comes down to supply and demand. If you're good at something that loads of other people aren't good at, your value will go up. So if you're really good at a niche area, your value will go up and you'll be in demand because not many people are doing that. As long as you're doing a thing that's in demand and not many people are doing, you're going to be fine. If you do the same thing as everyone, it goes back to being creative. Are you
Yeah.
truly doing something unique or are you repeating what 500 other people are doing? Because if you're repeating
It's,
what 500 other people are doing, it's a buyer's market.
you're
And
selling your ideas, aren't you? But it's just you pick whichever format you want to sell them through. But the ideas are what counts.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We're still always looking for really talented people. It's still like it's not easy for, kind of filling a new role. You still have to look. We still want specialists. I think that's the key. And as studios and probably as brands as well, I'd imagine, you're still looking for your point of difference. So
Yeah.
if everyone can do this stuff really easily, right? If everyone can use AI and just churn out stuff, then okay, well, as a brand, what's your point of difference? I'm going to spend more on AI than everyone else. That doesn't feel like very competitive. So if there's going to be a commercial difference between, say, I don't know, Nike, Adidas, and Reebok, what's one of them doing better than all the others? What's their point of difference? It's not how much
Yeah.
they're going to be spending on AI.
I
As
guess that's
much
the
as the AI
Coca-Cola thing, isn't
platforms
it?
will make you believe. So yeah, I still think like doing, I love Guillermo del Toro and his
Oh, we lost you.
We've lost your audio.
Yeah.
kind of approach to right on
Are you back?
physical.
Yeah.
Hello, 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 hello. I was just singing
Working.
Guillermo del Toro's praises. Because he set up a traditional animation studio. And yes, it's probably because he wants to preserve the craft, but I think it's also a really smart idea because I think less people are doing that.
Well, that's
Um,
a differentiating factor you were talking about, isn't it? That's his USP.
yeah,
Is that it's
Yeah.
still traditional and made prop.
yeah,
That suits his aesthetic as well.
Yeah.
completely,
Oh, I
completely.
saw I saw quite a good project recently from Fraser at Cub Studio. they did a really interesting AI project, I thought, where
Was
it's
that
just
the one with the silhouettes, where he's kind of the silhouettes are driving the animation in
yeah,
there?
exactly.
Yeah,
But I
Yeah.
thought what was interesting about it, I love the way he, obviously those guys they've done the animation, they've done the design work, they've done all the creative work, and they used AI to kind of like change the render style, change the lighting, all
yeah,
this and that. But what I found was interesting was because of the unique way the internet works, the backlash over it. And it's like this is I think some people see AI and just go, oh, that's all wrong, but rather than actually looking into what they're actually doing with AI. And I
They
think
pretty much use as a render engine, you know.
well,
yeah,
yeah, that's
yeah,
what their use case was a great use case for it. They've
Yeah,
done the
yeah,
they've done the side that they put the foundation in the creative
yeah.
foundation and then just use it as a tool. And I think that's so I don't really get the backlash on that.
No, it's the
no,
same. A friend of my Pierre, he used to work for us as a character animator. He's amazing. And he's into 100% AI now. But what he does, he creates all, like the character he rigs, he animates by hand, and then he just use the AI to change backgrounds, change the render, like style and everything. He used more as a render engine. And it just
Mm,
the possibility to give you, imagine how long would it take, just to you can produce so many variation in such a short period of your own animation.
yeah, yeah. I
absolutely.
mean, just using it to reduce roto or green screen
Yeah,
time, like I'm not gonna get upset about that. I don't
No,
miss roto. I don't miss roto at all.
yeah,
yeah,
And
great.
so anything to reduce that. And the other thing is it's such a catch-all term, isn't it? And it becomes so weighted. I think Gen AI, I get it. I understand why creatives have sensitivities to it and the ethics of it. And we should always question that and we should always push back where it's not right because we ultimately need to be paid for what we do. And that is
yeah.
correct. But if AI cures cancer, we
Mm.
need that. Like we need that.
Did,
We need we
did
need
you see
we
this
need to
guy
use it
then?
for saving lives.
Did you see this guy then cure his dog cancer using
What?
ChatGPT?
No.
Yeah, yeah. He's been all over the internet. So basically, it's really a complex process, but he went through. He's super clever. He went through with ChatGPT. ChatGPT gives ideas to him. He runs through like the protein cells and everything. He managed to scan and he managed to like laboratory to create like the vaccine based what he wants. But he needed to. It's really a complex thing. But he managed to go through all these things and managed to cure the dog cancer. And there's a lot
Wow.
of people talking about self that there is one guy I heard as well. He's super. I think he works for OpenAI, and he has cancer. So it's a lot of people with a lot of money and a lot of knowledge then start going solo
Yeah.
on cure cancer by themselves because they need for themselves and going through all the same system, going through like the protein cells and everything and separate and find the vaccine. So it is amazing. The potential for that is amazing.
Yeah, and
I
it,
think
and
it's
it's
great
it's
in
it's
medical.
it's essentially a sophisticated it recognizes sophisticated patterns and it pulls apart and extrapolates sophisticated patterns. So there's a thought that we might be able to talk with animals at some point. Certain, like whales
Yeah.
or something. There might be a translation device where we I mean, I don't know if that's a good thing. They're going to say, what the hell have you done?
What the fuck you
They're
done,
gonna be
man?
Hell
telling
have you
fuck off
done?
humans.
But it kind of opens up some possibilities you never even thought
Yeah,
about.
yeah.
So
And
yeah,
it's
I
in
think I think like you've just got to pick your moments to use it in the right way. It's like
yeah,
everything. It's
I
not a,
The
agree.
it's not a
discrepancy is
yes or a
crazy, though.
no. Yeah.
The discrepancy is crazy. Like, it's great for like medical stuff and all that. But then when you look up a cheesecake recipe, it's like, not sure I'd look at that. Where's the balance?
Maybe that's your next show, James. One human made cheesecake and one AI made cheesecake.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see what is better. Cool. We're just passing nine of just 1 hour show. I have a question for you and see if James has anything. So I always like, you've been in the industry for so long, you're building a, a massive studio, and I didn't have the opportunity to touch, like how you guys is still, running by yourself without investors, like everyone going, just being by investors and everything, but we didn't
I'll
have
take
the
I'll take a
opportunity of that.
fiver right now, Tiago.
Yeah. But one thing I like is to give advice for the next generation. So my question is, what is the one piece of advice you'd give to a motion designer in the London pub tonight who wants to build, their own territory studio?
Make sure you're doing it for the right reasons, because I think most motion designers don't really want to run a company. Like
I agree.
I
I
think
completely agree.
so yeah, just make sure you're doing it for a reason other than to make some money, because that might not work out for you. Uh yeah, I would try and do it for the right reasons. And if you really, really love your craft, which I thought I did, I do love my craft, but I just want to express it in a different way. I want to help. I want to help people like work on awesome projects. That's my thing now, and I love that. And I'm not even trying to convince myself of it. I don't think. That's what I enjoy doing. But I think a lot of people love motion design, and I think they like art direction. But when you become a creative director, you've really got to just be great at kind of psychology and overseeing big teams. So just be clear on how quickly you're racing at promotion and like the next thing.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of pressure on younger generations than me to be super successful super quickly. And actually, I mean, it's so corny, but just enjoying the journey. Like I miss the days when I was like, noodling through a pre-comp and jumping between After Effects and Illustrator on something. It kind
You
of
just don't remember how many times After Effects crash.
no,
That's why
no,
you're saying
that has like
that.
that's been erased. That's been erased from the memory banks. Yeah, once they fucking created autosave, it was like Jesus, why did that take so long? So yeah, I'd just be careful at how quickly you want to progress, going beyond your craft. I think it's cool to quickly learn the tools, because then the tools don't get in the way and you can just get on with doing great creative stuff. I think being quick at learning stuff is good. I just think that, yeah, just be clear on like art direction, creative management. It soon maybe takes you into something that you might not enjoy, as quickly.
Yeah.
And certainly running a studio, I would say, like if you have an entrepreneurial spirit and you're into it and you like trying to win new work and like doing marketing and being in spreadsheets and like looking at cash flows and all that dull stuff, like you're a weirdo like me. And yeah, I'd be happy to chat to people if they like want a bit of mentoring and they want to like explore that. I'm open to those sorts of things, but I would probably spend the first two sessions just trying to talk you out of it.
That's good.
Take the gun, man. Take the gun.
Cool. I think that's a great way to end the show, man. Thanks so much. I think that's the pod.
Pleasure, guys.
It's been a pleasure to have you. Thanks so much to
Thanks a lot
sharing
for joining
with
us.
everyone. Yeah.
I love it.
And
Love it. I better go
and
home and see what my kids look like.
yeah.
Maybe they were
And
watching. We just
I
you
doubt.
just don't know. So for everyone, we have the next live stream is coming the end of is always in the end of the month. So we have another one in the end of April. The live show is gonna be on 5th of May because we have
yeah.
2 weeks of half term and there is off festival. So we move.
Busy month.
And we have two speakers, of course. It's our 17th anniversary. That makes us feel older than territory. So that's
Only
bad.
slightly.
We will see everyone down Brick Lane on the 5th of May. But we see you guys back here in the end of the month of April. Thanks so much, Dave. Thank everyone.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks a lot for joining us. See you in a
Thank
bit.
you. Thank you. Cool. So I closed we're not live anymore. And thanks
Yeah.
so much. It was really good.
Yeah,
Really
it's really
good.
interesting.